and we're going to get out of here at, what is it, 8:45. So we're gonna try to move a little bit quicker here. So these are the 5 steps that we do to solve an equation, and we only do them if they are necessary. If it's not necessary, we skip to the next step. Okay? So today, guys, I'm just going to take you through quite a few examples. All right? So let's look at example number 1. Okay? So we have 5x plus 6 is equal to 2 times x plus 8 plus 2. Okay? So here we go. 5x plus 6 equals 2 times x plus 8 plus 2. So my question for you guys is, do we need to distribute? Do we need to do that first step? Yes, we do. We have a parentheses, okay? So we don't need to distribute on the left side of the equation. So right now, I'm just going to bring that down because we don't need to do anything to it yet, okay? But we do need to distribute over here. So 2 times x is just 2x. 2 times 8 is 16. And then we still do plus 2. Now, we need to decide, do we need to combine our like terms? Well, we don't need to combine like terms on the left, right? It's already done. So I'm going to, once again, bring down my expression on the left. Now, do we need to combine like terms on the right? Yes, we do. We got our 16 and our 2. So this becomes 2x plus 18. Okay? Now that we're here, we need to decide, do we need to move our number? We do. First we move our variables. I'm sorry. Do we need to move our variables? Are our variables on the same side of the equation? No. So we want to move our variable so that it's on the same side of the equation. So we move the variable just like we move the number. Since this was a positive 2x, we need to subtract. We need to do the opposite. We need to subtract a 2x. So I'm going to subtract my 2x over here so that it cancels it out. I'm going to move it over to the left side. And we are left with 3x plus 6 is equal to 18. Okay, guys? Now, the next thing we do is we move our number. So now we take our positive 6, and we want to get this away from our variable. So we subtract 6 from both sides, and we are left with 3x is equal to 12. Okay? Our final step here is we're going to divide both sides by 3, and my x is going to be equal to 4. All right? How do y'all feel about that? All right? So we added an extra step in here, but it's not too bad, right? So now, let's do another one. Is this good for everybody? Are y'all still okay? Yeah. Yes? Any questions before we move on to another one? Okay, cool. My pen was dying, so I went and got a new one. All right, let's look at example 2 here. All right, so now, I'm going to give us one more space. Example 2. We are going to do 4 times x plus 1, or parentheses, x plus 1, is equal to 2, parentheses, 3x minus 5. Okay? So let's take a look at this guy. What's our first thing we're going to do? Distribute. We actually got to distribute on both sides this time. So we're going to do 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 1 is plus 4. 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Okay? Next, we need to look at these and say, do we need to combine like terms? Do we need to combine? No. Look at this side of the equation. They're all together. Look at those side of the equation. We're all together. But now, we are going to move our variables. So, this is my question. Which one do we want to move? Which one would you guys want to move? The 4x or the 6x? Okay, here's the thing, guys. It doesn't matter which one you choose, okay? But So I heard some people, why did you say 4, Zach? So Zach wants to avoid a negative, so he's decided that he's going to subtract the 4x like that, okay? Now, guys, here's the thing. I'm going to be a little bit annoying, and I'm literally going to do it the same way. But over here, we're going to say 4x plus 4 equals 6x minus 10. I'm going to show you it really doesn't matter which way you do it, okay? So let's hear. If we subtract our 4x, then we're going to be left with 4 is equal to 2x minus 10. Okay? So we're going to be left with that here. Now, what are we going to do? We need to get our 10 off of this side, right? So I'm going to add 10 to both sides. And we're just left with 2x equals 14. And our final step will be that we divide by 2. If we divide by 2, our 2's are going to cancel out right here. And 14 divided by 2 is 7. So x is equal to 7. Okay? Now, look what happens if I subtracted the 6 instead of the 4. Okay? If I subtracted my 6x instead of the 4x, then we would get negative 2x plus 4 is equal to negative 10. Then I would look here, and I would want to move my constant, move my number. Subtract 4 from both sides, and we would get negative 2x is equal to negative 14. If I divide both sides by negative 2, okay, then we have x, negative 14 divided by negative 2 is still a positive 7. So guys, check it out. You get the same answer whether you bring it to the left or bring it to the right. Okay? Some people really want to avoid negative numbers, so they bring it to whichever one is bigger. Okay? That's totally fine, but understand that sometimes your variable might end up on the right side. Other folks would rather always bring the variable to the left because that makes more sense to them. That's totally fine, but just make sure you remember if you divide by a negative, what that does, right? If you divide a negative by a negative, it becomes a positive. A negative by a positive is a negative, okay? So, either way is totally fine, but do you guys see how it's essentially this, you get this exact same answer when you're done? It's pretty cool, right? All right, so now let's take a look at example number 3. All right, did y'all need me to leave that up there for a second? You do not have to do it both ways. I just wanted to show you. It doesn't matter to me which way you do, okay? So, and I change my mind depending on how I feel that day, okay? I don't always do it the same way. Sometimes I bring it to the right and make them positive. Sometimes I'm cool with them staying negative. All right. Depends on how much I want to deal with negative numbers, right? All right. So let's see here. What is next? Next, we have, this is a good one. Okay, example number 3. We got negative 5 times 1 minus 5k, parentheses 5k, plus 5 times negative 8k minus 2 equals negative 4k minus 8. Good night. That's a long one, okay? So the first thing we need to do is distribute. So we're going to go negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. 5 times negative 8 is negative 40k. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. Okay? Then we are equal to negative 4k minus 8. We didn't have to distribute anything on the right side of that equation. But now we need to go ahead and we need to combine our like terms. So we are going to put our k's together. So I'm going to draw a little line for my k's. So 25 minus 40k, that's going to give me negative 15k. Okay. And then I'm going to do my constants together. You don't have to do circles, but I like circles. Negative 5 minus 10 is negative 15. And that is equal to negative 4k minus 8. All right. So now we have to move our variables, and then we're going to have to move our constants. So what are we going to do first? Who would like, which k do we want to move? I don't care which one. Why don't you guys raise your hand? Which one do you prefer, Daniela?
Negative 4k.
Okay, you want to add, so what are we going to do to get rid of that negative 4k?
Add 4k.
Yep, we're going to add 4k. That's exactly what I did. If you decide to do the 15k, that's all right too. Okay. So now we go here, negative 15k plus 4k, that's going to give us negative 11k, and then minus 15 is equal to negative 8. Okay? I feel like I'm saying k a lot, and we're doing k's, and it's getting confusing. Then we go here. We have a negative 11k minus 15 equals negative 8. Now we need to add the 15 to cancel that lovely number out. And we get negative 11k is equal to 7. And our last wonderful, glorious step here. So we have moved our variables, we've moved our numbers. Now we need to remove this coefficient. So what do I need to divide by? Ooh, good question. Okay. So, guys, we don't divide by the constant. We divide by the coefficient. Okay? So we want to divide by the negative 11. Okay? So we divide by the negative 11. My k is equal to negative 7/11. 7 over 11. All right? Y'all feel okay? Okay. All right, I got two more. We can put them both on this page. Oh, I like this one. This one's a little different. All right, so if we have 8 times 4k minus 4 is equal to negative 5k minus 32. All right, so let's see what happens. First things first, we need to distribute, right? So we're going to distribute our 8. And what is that going to give us on the left side of the equation? Amit, what will that give us? 32k. And then what else? Oh, 32k minus 32. Isn't that wonderful? Okay. Then we're going to say is equal to negative 5k minus 32. Interesting. So next, let's move our variable term. So we're going to move our variable term, and we are going to add 5k to both sides. So we will be left with 37k minus 32 is equal to negative 32. All right. Now we need to move our constant. So we're going to add 32 to this side to get rid of it. But what happens here when I add 32 to the other side? Yeah. So these cancel out. Those cancel out. So guys, that means we're left with 0. Does that mean we don't have an answer? No. Because guys, if you have a variable with a coefficient that's equal to 0, if I still divide by 37 on both sides, then guys, my k will be equal to 0. Because newsflash, 0 divided by anything is always going to be 0. 0 divided by anything is always going to be 0. So guys, there could be times where your variable will be equal to 0. That is okay. That sometimes it throws people off because they're like, what happens when it cancels? It's equal to nothing. And I'm like, yeah, but what's nothing? 0. Right? So we are also going to talk about some special cases if our variables cancel. We'll take a look at that. But I wanted you guys to see this lovely example for y'all. All right, and then our last one like this, we're going to look at, and we are going to do 7/2 5x minus 10 is equal to 5 times negative 3/2 x plus 3. Gotta have some fractions in there, right? We gotta have some fractions. Why? I know. I love fractions. All right, here we go. So we're going to do 7/2 times 5x, which is going to be 7 times 5 is 35 over 2. So I'm just going to say that that's 35 over 2x. 7/2 times negative 10. 7 times negative 10 is 70. Divided by 2 is 35. Interesting. Okay? Also, guys, don't be shy. You can use your calculator if you want to. Remember, if you hit this alpha y equals, you can make a pretty little fraction. All right? If you want to, you can do that 7/2 times negative 10, and it'll give you that negative 35. And guys, check this out. If I had done alpha y equals 7/2 times 5, it would even give it to me as a fraction, 35 over 2. Isn't that pretty cool? So guys, if you type in alpha y equals enter, you have the opportunity to type it in as a fraction. So if you don't have one that can type it in as a fraction, you can just say 7/2 times 5. It'll give you a decimal. Then you hit this math, enter, and it turns it into a fraction for you. So all those steps are also up on the board over there. All right? Now, so the calculators are smart if you play smart, right? All right, so this is equal to 5 times negative 3/2 x. So that's going to be 5 times 3 is negative 15 over 2x. And then 5 times positive 3 is just 15. All right, so now we want to move our, well, first of all, do we need to combine any like terms? Well, they're all on the left side, they're good. On the right side, they're good. But we do need to move some numbers, right? And variables. So let's go ahead and add 15/2 x over here to cancel that out. Okay? But we also have to add our 15/2 x over here. Well, guys, hold on. I'm going to go over to the side. 35 over 2 plus 15 over 2 is going to give me 50 over 2. So what's that going to be equal to? 25. 50 divided by 2 is 25. So that's 25x minus 35 is equal to 15, right? So we brought our 15 down. So we moved our variables. Oh, that cleaned up so nicely. Now we're going to move our numbers. So we got 25x is equal to, that canceled out, is equal to 50. Ah, this is wonderful. We divide both sides by 25, and my x is just simply equal to 2. Okay? Now, one thing I do want to show you guys is if you wanted to plug these into the equation to check your answer, you can do that. I highly recommend using the calculator to do that, okay? Just because we have it as a resource. So if you wanted to check it, we could say, okay, alpha y equals, I'm going to do 7/2, and then I'm going to do a parentheses, and instead of 5 times x, I'm going to do 5 times 2 minus 10. Close that parentheses up. So I just replaced my x with a 2. And that gives me 0. Lovely. Okay, cool. Now, let's see if we plug in our 2 over here, if it gives us the exact same thing. So I'm going to say 5 parentheses alpha y equals, negative 3/2, not x, but 2, plus 3. And that will also give me 0. So the left side of my equation was 0, the right side of my equation was 0, so they're equal to each other. They won't always be 0. If it was like 7 and 7, that would be fine. You have to plug it in on both sides, and if both sides are equal to the same thing, then you know you have the right answer. Okay? All right. So guys, now what we're going to do is I'm going to let you guys work on this part where we are solving our inequalities. So here we go. I'm going to write several examples down for you guys, and I want you guys to do them on your own. Guys, remember, are you guys good here? Can I move on? Y'all are good? Okay. Okay, so when we are solving inequalities, these are going to be some multi-step inequalities. I guess you can write multi-step inequalities. Okay, guys? And what is the super important thing to remember when we are solving multi-step inequalities? Yeah? Okay, we follow the steps just like this. But guys, if you get to this remove the coefficient part and you divide or multiply by a negative, what do you have to do to the inequality sign? Yes. So literally, it's just like solving an equation, except you have to remember to flip the sign if you multiply or divide by a negative number. Okay? So this is super, super important. When you're solving those multi-step inequalities, remember to flip that sign if you multiply or divide by a negative number. If you need to like highlight that or draw an arrow to it or do a little star or something like that, make sure that you do that, okay? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a few examples up here on the board and or on the little document camera, and I want you guys to do them, okay? So we have, let's see here, 2, oops, be nice if I did it right. 2 parentheses 4x plus 1 is greater than 6x minus 14. Okay? And I'm going to go here. Let's see here how many, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to do my example 2 right here. Hopefully we got enough room. Okay, example 2, we're going to do 3p minus 3 minus 5p is less than or equal to negative p minus 6. Cool. And then I'm just going to do 3 little examples right here. The last example that I'm going to write up here on the board, can you see them all? Yeah. Okay, is going to be 36 minus 9 parentheses. Oh, whoops. Sorry, that's why you should use pencil. Minus parentheses 9 minus 2m greater than 7m plus 4 times m minus 9. Okay? So that one's kind of long. But there we go. Okay? So I got these 3 examples for you guys up on the board. I would like you guys to do them, and I will come around and check on that. Okay? Yes, sir, Mr. Zach.
Can I open my whiteboard?
Yes, please.